25th of April, and what a week of football we're looking forward to. This is Mick Ruby from MUFC Realist TV. Of course, we're talking about scintillating crescendo. It ain't over to the fat lady sing. Of course, we're talking about the shape of Premier League. Who's going to win the title? Who's going to clinch the title? Will it be Spursy? No, it will not definitely be Spursy, because Spurs is being Spursy. But we're talking about, of course, Manchester City taking on Arsenal tomorrow at the Ethihad at the same time Thursday, Manchester United, which is my club, are going down to beat Spurs. Spurs is being Spursy. And of course, the Christian Stellini. It is a club in mess. And do you reckon we're going to clinch a point? It's going to be a high-line score. Who to watch out for? Of course, we're talking about Harry Kane and all that jazz. But what is so important is that we get that 3 points so we can reclaim our third spot. Because because obviously Newcastle whooped Spurs ass with 6-1. Did I say just ass? But it's time for a cannon whoop ass. Please get into the game. Let's go. And by the way, I have a fantastic Scandinavian guest in the background. It's all Scandinavian show today. Good evening, people, wherever you are in the world, or good morning for some of you that lives in Asia Pacific. Welcome to MUFC Realist TV, and we are previewing the week ahead. I have my brother from another mother, my neighboring country from Norway, all the way, Jarvis Cocker. How are you, sir?
Good evening, Mick. Thank you for having me on. It's nice to be on your show finally. Haven't been for days.
It's been minutes. We were yesterday on waffling on Eddie's football waffles, and today we are looking to put that cream on top of Eddie's waffles and put the cherry on the top, because it is going to be a decisive moment. Jarvis, we are looking at, I certainly believe tomorrow will be decisive of who is going to clinch that Premier League title. Of course, we are looking at the league table, how it's kind of looking at the moment, right? So currently Arsenal are 2 points ahead, right? Oh, actually 2 games ahead, but currently sitting with 4 points, I think, 4 points ahead of City, right? Arsenal played 2 more games, right? And they've been really I can't even talk right now. They've been capitulating lately. The wheels is falling off Arteta's Rolls Royce in a certain ways, but comparing to Manchester City, Jarvis, it is boys versus men. Comparing that City has such a large squad to rotate. What's your thoughts and feeling regarding the title race tomorrow, City versus Arsenal? Will Arsenal prevail, or will they deplete totally?
Yeah, first of all, I think City has been looking better and better. I think Pep started the season in second gear, and now he's finally getting up to speed, and his machine is really going in fifth or sixth gear now. So they are looking extremely good. So I'm afraid they're going to win the triple if the treble if things continue like this. But on tomorrow's game, in one single game, anything can happen. You can have like referees' decisions or injuries or anything. So it's not set in stone that the City will win. But for me, they are big favorites, especially when you think about Arsenal's form lately.
Yeah.
They have been dipping off and losing points both east and west and everywhere. So even if they show morale, they came back last game from 3-1 in the 87th minute and equalized to 3-3. So they had a great morale in the squad. But even I heard Arsenal fans telling that when they were up 2-0 against West Ham, they starting showboating in the 30th minutes, and like they're starting to get a little bit cocky and think this is going by themselves. So at the moment City is the biggest favorite, but I would love Arsenal to win just to keep the City keeping all their focus on the
Yeah.
league until the last game, so they can't rest their players until the FA Cup final, because that's the most important game for us.
I mean, my best friend who lives in Dubai, he's the biggest Gooner supporter you can ever find, right? And he always told me about Mick. You know what? We were never expected to be in this position, so I'm so proud of being Gooner supporter at the moment, right? Looking where we were last season, and we definitely overachieved this season, right? So for us, for me at least, you said it's all about to getting to Champions League spot, right? But of course, when you got that far, right, it's like you run that 400-meter relay with this stick, and you coming to the finish line and you dropping that stick. You know what I mean? And you lose the first spot. So it is a little bit humiliating in certain ways, because they played such a good football, according to my perspective. The little that I watched Arsenal, but for me, it was pretty much like a pedal to the metal the first 20 minutes, just overflood them and kill them, not with kindness, but with punishment, right? Um, Arteta's ball was pretty much for the first 20 minutes, like, put 1-2 in, and shock the opponents, like a shock therapy treatment. But you can only play a certain style of football. I mean, the season is long. Obviously, we had unprecedented World Cup and everything. And if you look at Manchester United's season, which is the club we represent on this channel, by the way, we played I think it's about 57 fixtures so far, comparing to Arsenal and comparing to the rest. Of course, complacency and fatigue and injuries comes into play, and therefore it's so important that you actually have a good squad. Let's say if Casemiro drops out or Thomas Partey drops out, who are you going to replace them with? So if you look at Pep and City, they do have a lot of good players to rotate with. It comes down to experience as well, Jarvis, according to my opinion, because these boys or men from City, they've been here before, right? They always start the league. If you look back at the two latest seasons, they started off very slow off the blocks, right? And they always come with the final spurt, right? So that's why I'm saying it ain't over till the fat lady sings, like in opera. So,
Yeah.
so for me, it's going to be like, as a neutral, Jarvis, what do you expect from the game tomorrow?
Yeah, who knows, because Arteta and Pep, they know each other so good, working together for so many years. So I don't think they will go head to head, or will they? Who
I don't know.
knows?
It's Master Yoda versus the apprentice. Trust the
Yeah.
Force, Luke. If you know what I mean.
But
Star Wars.
yeah, my son is a big Star Wars fan, so I have watched the movies like 100 times the last year.
Yeah.
So
If you look at I mean, I don't see, if we talk about our game, like if you talk about Spurs versus Manchester United, all right, what's going on with Spurs is just dire, according to my opinion. Daniel Levy sacking one manager, sacking the interim, and appointing another interim, and you just basically, are you throwing away top four? I mean, how do you see it, Jarvis? Are they throwing away top four?
yeah, I was thinking of this actually today in my car driving home from work. What's going on with Spurs? They have something in their tradition and in their history, like bottling everything up when things starts to be, the pressure starts. So I don't know what they are doing. They have the best striker in Premier League for the last 5 years. They have really good players. I was thinking about today, like Højbjerg. I followed him when he played for Bayern Munich, and when he was a young man, and I noticed him then and thought he was a really good player. But that was in the great Bayern Munich collective, and then he came to Southampton, and it was a weaker team, so he couldn't shine as much. But even then, I thought, okay, he's a guy maybe we should go for, and then he ended up in Spurs. But he's a little bit underrated in my opinion. But Spurs have great players, so I can't really understand why they can't like. I think I was thinking about it today, and I think it's something in their belief, because to be the best, you don't have to be, you have to be in a high level, but you have to like reach for the stars. You
Yeah,
know,
for the stars.
I think Pep and even Ten Hag and some manager, the best managers, they push their players not to be, not to be
Yeah,
complacent, not to be happy with the current state, but always pushing them up to be better. I think that's the thing that the Spurs are lacking in
is
their mentality.
is it arguably to say, because that's something that kind of rings a bell, the way we used to be under the stewardship of Woodward, right? There was
Hmm.
no vision, there was no togetherness, there was no cohesion. When Ollie came in, your fellow countryman, at least he tried, like, he instilled that culture back into the club and
Yeah.
what the badge stands for. And but it's clearly missing. The culture is kind of missing with Spurs, according to my opinion, the way I
Mm.
see it. Like, you had so many different managers, you tried so many things, but at the top of that pyramid sits a very narcissistic person called Daniel Levy
Yeah.
that clearly overrides everything what the manager wants, like in terms of recruitment, in terms of everything. And I even remember recalling Conte saying that, "Hey, Jed Spence was not my signing. This was not my signing. I never asked it for that."
Mm.
Um, so they did invest in the market, and Dejan Kulusevski was a very good signing, Swedish
Yeah.
player, of course.
Hmm.
But then they signed some old players like Perisic and all that stuff that didn't make any sense. What else did they sign that didn't make any sense? Basuma as well from Brighton. I thought that
Yeah.
was a good call. Everyone was after Basuma, but Basuma hasn't been that great
Yeah.
apparently because there's no coaching involved. Huh?
Mm. Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah. And you know, as I was saying, the Spurs have so many good players, and they should be competing for top four all the
mm,
time, as it thing stands now. But you know, next year, you know, Liverpool will be back, Chelsea will probably be back.
yeah.
If Spurs, if Spurs are messing it up now, who knows? Maybe they will never be back in top four, at least in the next 2 or 3 years.
Well, that's so crucial with their appointments, obviously, because Nagelsmann has apparently dropped out. Doesn't want to be associated with this poisoned club because it is a toxic environment at the moment,
Hmm.
similar to Manchester United was last year as well before Ten Hag came in and changed
Yeah.
things around. You know, but in terms of throwing away the season, it is kind of rings a bell what we did too under Regnick as well last
Yeah.
season. If you remember, like late April last year, down tooling, throwing it away under Ragnick, nobody was responding, right?
Mm.
In comes Ten Hag. Ten Hag has done a fantastic job. Like, basically, three signings of his was astute. We're talking about, of course, Ericsson was a free signing, though, but what we paid money for, we just discussed this in the podcast yesterday with Eddie's Football Waffle, was, of course, the likes of Martinez that came from his club as well, from Ajax.
Mm.
He kind of understood straight away, and also Malasia, who kind of understood what inverted fullback's role is. And then we talked about Aaron Wan-Bissaka learning that role, and he sort of picked it up recently. I understand what inverted fullback is. And who else? Casemiro, of course.
Mm.
Casemiro, right?
Yes.
So all in
And we had a
all,
couple of signings now after the World Cup. Yeah, we have
yeah,
Sabitzer and
yeah,
Weghorst.
Loanies though.
Yeah.
Bear in mind, Wood. Yeah, Hood, Weghorst.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's been all right. I mean, thank you for your loyal service with Weghorst. I mean, obviously you haven't scored many goals, but you actually provided an extra body, like an extra
Yeah.
pressing when it was needed. Because this season has been very, very long for Manchester United. I think we played. I think I heard a report 57 games in the fixtures, while we went in against Brighton and they played like 36 or 32 or something. So the level of games we played is ridiculous, right? So no wonder we have so many injuries. But now, Jarvis, we don't have any cups to worry about. Now it's just Premier League. Woo!
Oh, we have one cup to worry about.
Yeah, but we're not playing more games now until like the end,
No, no.
beginning of June.
Basically,
Yeah,
we're back to just one game a week now. Or I don't know how the schedule is, but we have 8 games left, or is it 7?
yeah. I think it's 7 to be honest. Let me see.
No,
Can't remember.
30. We 8.
Yeah.
8 games left, and but I think we will be fine. But I heard the last rumor Bruno is injured. Did you
I
know? Do you
don't
know
know.
anything about that?
I've been trying to scan. I can't find anything. But if he's out, God rest his soul, because he needs the rest. Because Bruno, as we know, had played every single second, every single minute, barring except that he got suspended. He couldn't play in Sevilla second
Mhm.
leg, and that turned out the way it turned out. But if we look at the table right now, Villa just won. They're slowly creeping in from behind. They surpassed Spurs. Of course, they played 33, and Spurs playing us tomorrow on 32, but they clearly passed uh, Tottenham. So that means that Unai Emery has been doing madness over there since he came over, right? And we see also Liverpool slowly creeping back. So is there a possibility that any of these can creep into top four, or do you think this is set in stone? Right, it will be like Newcastle, City, Arsenal, United.
Nothing is impossible, at the moment. But thing is, to be in that position, you have to have a 100% run. You have to win
Mm,
the remaining of your games, and that seldomly happen in the end of the seasons, because you have relegation battles, you have top four battles, and all in the in between. So you have very strange results at the end of the season.
yeah.
Maybe we will win the rest of our games and lose against Birmingham or
Mm. But the interesting point, Jarvis, is that we are playing Spurs, and then week after we're playing Villa at home.
yeah, and Brighton
So
the next.
and Brighton.
Mhm.
That's three tricky games, but we
Yeah.
should be able to prevail. I mean, I'm going to dive into that. Like, enough of covering this Premier League. I'm just going to add on to the stream. Of course, we're here to preview about the game tomorrow, Jarvis. This is what we're here for. This is our
Mm.
church. This is how we heal our church. This is all the madness. This is what we live for. Manchester United. I don't know about you, but as soon as the summer comes, I get depressed, waiting for the season to start,
Yeah.
because then it starts the transfer market madness and the rumor mills. Um, what's going on here at the moment, right? Let's dive into it. Of course, there's been rumors, of course, heavily linked that Harry Kane is now looking for a transfer move. We discussed it in a podcast yesterday as well. He's got 12 months left on his contract. Daniel Levy is coming out in the press to say, no, he's not for sale. We're going to keep him, blah, blah, blah. That is kind of a leak out to the press to say that, hey, we still want to have 100 million for him. But everyone knows that you're not paying 100 million pounds for a 30-year-old striker that has 1 year left on his contract. That is madness. That is madness, right? But tomorrow, I would say it will be a great showcase for Kane to show what he's all about, right? Hopefully, he
Mhm.
doesn't score many goals against us. But I mean, I was looking at some stats yesterday and comparing him and Victor Osimhen, and I discovered that Ozzy, of course, he's a goal scorer, but he's so weak in other areas that Harry Kane is good at, right?
Mm.
So if you compare it pounds to pounds, or like grams to grams, who is the better striker? Well, at the end of the day, it's the ball that goes into the net, isn't it? Because that's the role of the striker. Um, my lineup, I don't know. This is debatable, right? This is why I have you on the stream, right? So I have gone with this. I haven't really seen the injuries, but I assume that Bruno Fernandes got a knock. I saw a picture of him resting his leg, in a casket or something against the
Mm.
pillow. Speedy recovery, Bruno. But I gone the following, and I want your opinion on that. Like, in terms of the back four, Jarvis, I don't think we should disrupt the apple card. What worked, last game and the game before, is to have Delo start as a left back, and put in Shaw as a left-sided centre back, playing alongside with Victor Lindelof and Wan-Bissaka. Now, the reason why I want to have Wan-Bissaka still in the team is to stop the likes of Son, right? Who is a tricky
Mm.
customer. The only worry I have in terms of Shaw and Lindelof is that none of them are kind of good in the air, and you will have, a like of Harry Maguire, who is a very good customer in terms of aerial duels. So therefore, I kind of get a little bit suspicion that it might be a Maguire on Harry. I don't know. What's your thoughts on the back four?
Yeah, the back four, I to say, I know you're Swedish, so I don't want to bash Lindelof, but sometimes you look a little bit weak in the physical duels. So I'm afraid that because Harry Kane, he's excellent in receiving the ball and turning. So if you have to be strong to stop him, I'm not sure if Lindelof can do the job. But last game, Shaw did all the pushing up, and Lindelof just stayed in the space and controlled everything. So if they can do a similar thing, we will be fine with those two. But I don't know how Ten Hag sees it, but Maguire didn't impress us
No, I didn't.
against Sevilla. So yeah, I think most United fans want Maguire to stay on the bench,
Yeah.
and only play him if necessary. But yeah,
I think we're in for a little bit of a shock here. This is what the fans probably want. They want to see like this similar lineup that started like in the back four. But in terms of Harry Kane versus Harry Maguire, they know each other from the national team and everything else. They know how they play. I might say there might be a little bit of a shock that Lindelof will sit out on the bench and Maguire comes in. But either way, if that happens, I do hope that Maguire has his head screwed on. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But
I agree. I agree, Mick. But nothing would make me happier than if Maguire played a good game.
oh yeah,
Because his confidence is shattered, and he can't perform. He looks like it's a hot coal every time he gets the ball. So
hot potato, hot potato, hot
hot
potato, hot
potato,
potato.
yeah. So he should. I hope he get a good experience if he plays. And
Yeah.
another thing with your lineup with the back four is Dalo. Do you think Kulusevski will play?
Yes, he's
Yes.
available.
And
Kulusevski is available.
is he left-footed or right-footed?
Whoa. He plays on the right.
Does he
So
cut inside and shoot, or does
yeah,
he
he
go around?
does. He does.
Yeah, I
He's
think he's
brilliant.
left-footed.
He's
So
left footed.
last game, Solly March, he's left-footed, and
Mm.
Dallo, he had good control on Solly March because every time Solly March wanted to go to his left, he went against Dallo's best
Yeah.
foot.
Yeah.
So I think that can be a good thing against Kulusevski.
Oh, we will see. I mean, at the end of the day, it's so hard. How many times I sit here and done a preview and putting up the predicted lineup, and Ten Hag always comes with surprises. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see either like a Malacia or a Deloy. But anyway, their back four is kind of. I think that their back four is kind of the strongest or weakest. I'm not sure. Like it's been so much chop and changing, it's been dire. But if we go on to the midfield, though,
Yeah,
and
very
this is where I'm conflicted though, because A, I love Bruno. B, I want Bruno to rest. B, he got a knock, so I don't see no chance he will start against Spurs on Thursday, right? So I think that for energy and as a competitive midfield, I think also Ben Cantor is out for Spurs. So I see that, in Brazil, Fred and Casemiro, they are a partnership in the Brazilian team. And on top, as a number 10, as a Bruno replacement, I see a Sabitzer, as a triangle.
Hmm.
Any thoughts on that, sir?
Yeah, that's a good lineup. If Ten Hag goes for a lineup like that, that will be great. But the only problem with that lineup is if we're going to play out from the back, we don't have even either Fred or Casemiro can go down and like start to play in a good way. They can do it, but I'm not like 100% sure how well they will do it. If
Well,
if if
my
they press high and press us hard, they can get us in trouble.
my logic and reasoning behind this is, of course, and forgive me, like Ericsson. I was choosing between Fred and Ericsson, and of course, this is Ericsson's home ground, old home ground.
Mm.
But realistically speaking, I think Ten Hag will pick Ericsson instead of Fred, and Fred will come in the second half, like we saw in the last game, as a weapon, right? If that needs to be tightening, right? But at the end of the day, like that worked in the first half in the in
Mm,
semis, right? So why not? Why change a winning team? But I
mm.
was just reflecting on the second half, how much energy and press Fred added onto the team, right?
Yeah, I agree.
A- And by default, I think Sabitzer comes in to replace Bruno. So
Mm. But the thing with Fred, you don't know what Fred is going to show up. Is it Fred from Brazil or is it Fred from Stoke? You have the
or
two saying. So if it's Fred from Brazil, we will be fine. The first game at Old Trafford against Spurs, Fred was the man of the match. He was brilliant that game. He was
yeah,
controlling everything. He was
yeah,
everywhere in that game. So much energy, and he was so good on the ball. He could do it all. But
yeah.
he can show up or he can't. So uh,
You
I
can't. It's like Fred is like a box of chocolate. You never know what you're gonna get. Forrest Gump.
yeah.
I mean, that's typical. Like, either you get the yummy chocolate or you get the one that nobody wants in the chocolate box. Like, they
Mhm.
always stay to the end of Christmas. Jokes aside.
Yeah.
But we are happy with that midfield. I mean, either it's going to be, I mean, this is not written in stone. This is just up for debate. That's why I'm having it there, right?
Mm.
In terms of the firing line, the front three, Martial, sorry, ain't going to do it for me, right? I think we will see more of a Jadon Sancho, Rashford in the middle, and Anthony Dos Santos any given Sunday. I
Mm.
don't know. I'm confident about this one. Not sure. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he will start with Martial in the middle, Rashford to the right. I mean, he might believe in Martial, but the jury's out, according to my opinion.
Yeah, but the funny thing with Ten Hag, I think he really, really trusts Martial. He almost never starts Martial on the bench. Anytime Martial is back, he starts him right away. So I think he will play Martial as long as he has legs to stand on, because
Yeah.
Martial is crucial for the
You
way
play on
Ten
one
Hag.
leg, you crawl, I
Yeah.
don't care. As long as you pass that ball like Ted Lasso. Yeah. I was
Yeah.
watching that final episode of Ted Lasso yesterday. I mean, do you watch Ted Lasso?
No, no, I haven't. I haven't, but
It's
I heard
brilliant.
about him. I have seen clips on Instagram and stuff like that. So
It's
I'm
brilliant.
familiar with him.
Yeah, he's from Kansas and speak like Kansas City. Yeah, right. So no, yeah, I mean, you're right. You're right, my friend. As I said, this is my predicted whoop up lineup. Um, it's never written in stone. It's just up there to have a sort of debate, and this is what we're here for. So yeah, I can agree with you in certain ways that he might start Martial as a link up man, playing with his back against the goal. Sancho for sure. No, but then it means that Sancho drops off and Rashford comes to the left wing, and
Hmm.
it's. But yeah, we need space. We need pace. So yeah, it is. It is. You got a point there. Rashford to start as on the left wing, Martial in the middle, and Dos Santos on the right. That's going to kill them in terms of pace,
Yeah.
and somebody that's just ping long balls through the channels.
Hmm. Yeah,
Woohoo.
and
And that's
and,
going to be
and
that's going to be Ericsson, to be honest, and to find them.
yeah, there's several ways Ten Hag can set up this team. Your team is a good team, so it's possible. But I think he likes Martial. He wants to
Yeah,
play that way,
yeah,
and I think he has uh, given up on De Gea to play out from the back, especially with
yeah,
the current center back lineup. He
yeah.
learned his lesson.
No,
So
I kind of feel like right now, Jarvis, it's just not. It's 7 games to go. Just get it over the line. I don't care
yeah.
if you play out of the back or play long balls. Just get me the wins, secure top four. That's it,
I
right?
think Ten Hag is in the mode now. He's just thinking, okay, I'm going to be
Get
pragmatic. I'm going to win this game.
yeah.
I don't care how I play. So yeah.
I think we had this discussion yesterday on Eddie's channel as well to say, like, and for me, I didn't say it, but for me, it was like at this moment, I don't care how we play the football as long as we get the points, right? As long as we
Mm,
get this top four. I mean, if we finish third, amazing, amazing, amazing. So there's going to be games going to be scruffy, huff and puffy, and there's going to be games where we're going to be dominating. But I think we've seen good football at Ten Hag, but now it's just ain't time for nice football. It's about time to get those
yeah.
points,
Yeah, we're just gonna grind the results, grind out
grind
the
it out.
results.
The danger man, of course, for me is Harry Kane. Any given Sunday, him and Son together, if they are firing, we can be a little bit of in trouble with our back line. But Kane, he scored 27 and 28 in all competitions this season.
Yeah.
Wow, that's I didn't know that, like, because Kane, if you remember, everyone was having a little bit of banter about it in the beginning of the season. He didn't fire. So Kane is somebody that came up. I don't know. He came up from the shadows, just all doing his
Mm.
business. But so he's a proven scorer, right? So even if we get him in the summer or not, I think if we choose a Victor Osman or Kane, he will definitely add on the extra cherry on the top, right? So
Yeah, Kane, he has evolved his game, as a build-up player. He drops deep and turn around and spread those balls to the right or the left,
yeah,
and follow up in the middle. So, he scores a lot of goals. But to be fair, if it was up to me, I wouldn't buy Kane. He
no,
has a great pedigree, but his age is scaring me off, because we have had so many older attackers right now with
yeah,
Cavani and Ronaldo and all of those. So I think it's time to go for a better younger striker. We haven't
yeah,
had a younger striker since we bought
I agree.
Lukaku. So
Yeah,
now it's time. If we're gonna give Ten Hag a chance to build his team, okay, let's build his team.
okay.
Let's see what he can do.
Another team news for Spurs that might affect the result as well, Jarvis, is that if Bissouma is injured, Rodrigo Bentancur is off as well, Ryan Sessegnon as well, but also the goalkeeper, Hugo Lloris,
Oh,
and the right back, Emerson Royal. So they're a little bit in trouble. Plus, no proper manager. So they just sacked Christian Stellini as well. So they have an interim. It's going to be a bloodbath, I think. So they have a, I think French goalkeeper, what's his name, Lloris, he has a hip injury, so he's going to be replaced by Fraser Foster. It's
mm,
a lot of the vacancies. So this is kind of a me, unproven goalkeeper, unproven manager, a lot of injuries, and this is going to affect the scoreline, according to my opinion. But we'll get
yeah.
to that. To get to that. But in terms of Manchester United, are you ready? Are you ready for this one? This is Mick Ruby special. We're missing the butcher, but what do you need butcher when you have Mick Ruby replacing the butcher?
Nice.
The outs, the outs. That was me in my father's garage helping me up. But
Cool.
I found that picture. I thought everyone was calling Martin is the butcher. What about Mick the butcher to replace the butcher? Um, Injuries as well. What we talked about, Bruno Fernandes. I think he will not be available. He's got a knock. We know who the usual suspects are out. Donny van Beek is out, of course. He's not going to be playing. Garnacho, highly unlikely if he's be back for the end of the season. There was talks he was going for Argentina's under 21 World Cup championship instead of playing in the FA Cup final. I don't really mind it. I mean, it's what we said. As long as we get over the line, we don't mind if Garnacho goes. Do we?
No, we have managed without him for a long time. So I think we can do the last couple of games without him too.
Mm,
So but Garnacho showed this before the World Cup. Also, there were rumors that he was like faking an injury just to stay fresh for the World Cup.
yeah.
But yeah. Uh, I think he will prioritize Argentina, to be fair, but I would love to have him back. Yes, he's
Yeah.
such an impact player. He has so much power in his dribbling, and he always takes on his man. He's never afraid. So his attitude is 10 of 10.
100%. And Scott McTominay is missing as well.
Mm.
You know what? I just read something on One Football here, which is interesting. Well, Eric Ten Hag hopes that his favorite playmaker Bruno Fernandes back from a minor ankle injury. Well, he hopes. Yeah, he doesn't really say that he will be back, but yeah, I'll be on a butcher mode. I'll be like this, man. I'll be like seriously, like Thursday night, come on, bring it on,
Mm.
man. That leads us to the score prediction. I mean, what do you expect in terms of score prediction?
Well, I expect us to win because Spurs are in terrible form, and we have a massive boost winning the semi-final, even though it was on penalty. So I hope we will win, and I think we will win with more than one goal. So I take the Mick Ruby special 3-1.
Yay! That's the famous McRuby special 3-1. Actually, Jarvis, I gone with 3-1 all across the board here, to be honest, if you see, like, because I also did the score prediction for City versus Arsenal as well. So I don't see Arsenal getting across the line over at Etihad, right? In the current form, home ground, I think that City will pump them with 3-1 as well, to be honest. And on the other way around, I like De Gea to keep a clean sheet. Currently, he's the leading Golden Glove in the league with 14 clean sheets. If he keeps another one, that means that he will be ahead Nick Pope as well, because Popey let one in as well against Spurs, right? So that means that if De Gea gets another clean sheet, he's definitely going to win the Golden Glove, the best goal in the league. So sit down.
Yeah.
But
And that will be a nice farewell to De Gea if he wins that
yeah,
and win the FA Cup final. We can just thank De Gea and say, okay, thank you for the job, and now let's get another goalkeeper.
yeah.
I know it's controversial, but that's my opinion.
But the game will make sway, as you said. They have injuries. They have a new interim manager. I don't see the new manager bounce happening. They're going to be disorganized. I think pretty much they're going to park the bus because they're scared. And usually, when you then have a playing style, you just park the bus. But I think I don't see. I mean, maybe the only one that I put in is either like a Hurricane scores a goal, right? That's you cannot count out Hurricane, and also depends on who's the center back, if it's Lindelof or Maguire, you know.
Yeah.
But ideally, as a Patriot Red, I would see a 3-0 Manchester United. Is it possible, Jarvis, that we can have two scores, like A and B prediction?
Yeah, that's fully possible, but it depends, on Harry Kane and and actually Maguire. So you have a good point there. So, but Mick, about Lindelof, do you think he's been fairly judged at United because he's always
No,
partnered up with Maguire?
no, I don't think so. I mean, me following Lindelof in the Swedish national team as well. He's the captain. He's a solid centre back. The only frailties that he had is his aerial threat. I mean, aerial duels is not that strong, right? But he's a ball playing centre back. Of course, he played at Benfica. He knows how to play ball, and he can play CDM as well, obviously, as Erik ten Hag discovered. So he's a good ball player. To be honest, he's good with the
Yeah.
ball, right? So he hasn't got a fair treatment ever since Maguire came in, right? When he was playing prior Maguire came in, everyone was calling him Iceman and all that stuff, right? But then you have to adjust your playing style towards Harry Maguire, and Harry Maguire is not the fastest player, meaning that you cannot play on high pitch, you cannot play Lindelof and Maguire high line because they're not the fastest centre backs either, right? So I think Lindelof has been getting that stick based on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer ball from last season as well. People call him Lindesoft, and therefore I think it was so nice to see that he was given the man of the match, and he actually got the decisive penalty, and you could see the joy in his face, like he was so relieved, and fans were waking up and say, "Wow, we actually have a great centre back here, right?" Because he was highly rated. He was playing in a centre back pairing with Diaz from City at Benfica, right? If you remember. So
Yeah.
they were not bad. They were not bad at all. So for me, I don't know. We covered this the other day as well. I would say, like, if you're going to ship off a centre back this summer, then cut your losses, sell Harry Maguire, keep Lindelof, and recruit in another centre back as well, right? So for me, the main target priority position is the striker, one or two midfielders, and a centre back. A goalkeeper can come next season.
Yeah.
How about
And
yourself, sir?
I agree on your point on Lindelof, because I often see the Swedish national team play, and I see he's a different kind of guy when he plays with them, and you know what I like about him, but I see it way too seldom. You know, when he just makes up his mind, I want to go forward with the ball. He just accelerates and move up and breaks through the
Yeah.
first line and put pressure on the second line, because he's so fast when he does that. So I think it's underrated the skill that he have, and he seldomly use it. But I would like to see more from him.
Yeah, 100%. No, Victor Lindelof is one to keep as a third choice center back, I think. But also, like if you're talking about Swedish players, Alexander Isak. I've been watching him for quite a while,
Mm.
and he's starting to warm up quite nicely at Newcastle. Another thing that we're talking about, Harry Maguire, was a report yesterday. I think it was that Newcastle are interested in Harry Maguire's service in the summer. But I'm sure they are you real? Who's going to pay money for him? They're going to probably put £30,000 here. Take it or leave it, and we're going to go. Should we take it? Should we not? We bought him for 85. I don't know, man. But there's some fans that will drive him to Newcastle free of charge, and we
Mm.
even had one guy. Was it Gunchi? Was it yesterday? Who
Yeah.
said he'd fly all the way from Vietnam to take him to Newcastle personally, and that's kind of expensive flight ticket, Gunchi, if you're listening. But listen, all good, all good. I feel confident for Sunday, not Thursday. Of course, we're playing Thursday, not a weekend game. But we all went on this score like this, both 3-1. Obviously, both me and Jarvis went 3-1. We went on the Ruby special. I also went on City 3-1. Do you have any other score from City Arsenal in mind?
Well, 3-1, maybe that's moderate. Maybe they will be that there will be more goals, you know, because Arsenal have been leaking from the back in the back in the last couple of games. So and if Haaland, you know, he
Oh
can he
yeah,
can
yeah,
he
yeah, yeah.
can detriment Arsenal if he's up to it. You know, he can score. He can score a hat trick him by himself, and then De Bruyne and really chip in. So you can, oh, it can be
Yeah, you
fireworks.
must be proud as Punch as Norwegian. Of course, he plays for the wrong Manchester side, but Haaland is a beast, man.
Yeah, but the thing is, you know, we have in Norway, we have been following our young stars for many years. You know, when Ødegaard played in Real Sociedad, you know, that's why I know Isak. They played together, and the games from Real Sociedad was always live. And the same with the Borussia Dortmund games, and even when Haaland played in Molde, I followed him, and because you know he was great on the under 21 team for Norway. He scored 9 goals in one game in the World Cup.
Yeah,
He was a beast, and even when he was younger, he was 17, 18. He was like huge. So
we
so
have
that, yeah.
we actually have one more Norwegian player in our academy, Hansen, isn't it?
Hmm. He's
How
from
good is
my
Hansen?
place.
He's from Tromsø, right?
Hmm.
How good is Hansen? He's predicted to have a bright future.
Yeah, but you know, it's hard to say when you come up to the level of Manchester United if it's good enough or not. But you know, I'm proud to have a fellow Norwegian, and even from the northern parts of Norway, to even be in Manchester United. So
Yeah,
so I just hope he gets a career in the Premier League. That will be great if
yeah.
he can just get the shot of one of the other teams.
What I like about our current squad is there's so many players that are so proud to be at the biggest club in the world. We're talking about the grassroots players from Argentina, Spain, Argentina, Latin America. Wood Weghurst, though, he's not to our standards and our likings, but you can clearly see he's so proud of Punch to play for the biggest club, Manchester United. I saw a clip on him the other day when Victor Lindelof shot that penalty in 7-6 decider. He was the only one running like a freaking gazelle towards the fans' goals, like and doing and sliding on his knee like he scored the goal. But this is passion, right? So this is what I want to see, Jarvis. I want to see players coming to the club, loving the club, falling in love with the fans because we are the best, biggest fan base in the world. The atmosphere at Old Trafford is. I haven't been there for 7 years though because I don't want to sponsor the Glazers.
Hmm.
And I was even looking at Wembley final tickets, and I'm going like, You got to be kidding me. You know,
How much are they now?
the cheapest was obviously, I think the Manchester United section is sold out. So you have the city section, and it's like starting from £400, the cheapest section. So we're talking about massive money. You can pay up to £1,000 to have good seats, to 800. So this is an indication how football is going in terms of big money, right? And this is Wembley we're talking about, right? So big up for everyone that's going for the finals. Big up that has deep pockets, but we're living in a financial crisis at the moment. We have to choose to either heat your house or put food on the table, either to go to watch a football game. So yeah, big up. We also have a protest on planned protest 1958 Foundation. It's an organized protest. It's happening on Sunday against I think it's Everton game, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's Everton game. Yeah.
I just hope it's going to be a peaceful protest. I've been reached out to do live stream to cover this, and I'm saying I'm all game for it, because obviously I cannot travel to Manchester to do it, but I can do it remotely. But I pray to God it's going to be peaceful, that nobody incriminates themselves, but it's always green and gold until we're sold, and this is what we're here for. I think that this time around, the global fan base has been more united than ever. So I know that hopefully a peaceful protest, and I know some people is going to be there. Hopefully they're going to, I'm going to give them some links. Maybe I can cover it. It's going to be interesting to see, right?
It's going to be really interesting.
Hopefully we get new owners very soon, so we don't have to protest. We see what's going on. But anyway, thank you, Jarvis. It's been a pleasure to have you on, sir. I know we had a nice 40. It was spur of the moment. I invited you 10 minutes before the streams. Thank you. Guys, whoever is watching, it's late, midnight vibes. Wherever I'm sitting, it's 10 to midnight. So it's almost, what is it? 38 hours left to the kickoff at Spurs. This has been Mick Ruby from MUFC Realist TV, and I'm going to point that way. This is Jarvis Cocker, not the singer, but the brilliant football pundit and realist as well from Norway. Thank you, Jarvis, for coming on board. Take care. Be nice to each other on social and hug each other in the traffic. Bye for now. See us. Bye. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching MUFC Realist TV. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us on the socials.